Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session on learning management systems. I'm Katie, and a member of the CK-12 team, and my colleague Felix and I will be running today's webinar. We're so glad you've joined us. Before we go over today's programming, I want to remind you of a few things related to Zoom. So you can see two different options on your Zoom screen. One is for Q&A and one is for chat. For those of you that have this down pat, thank you so much for putting your questions for us in the Q&A window. And then talking to each other in the chat window. That's a great place for community conversation. Just make sure you put all panelists and attendees so everyone can see kind of what you're writing and where you're coming from. So feel free to introduce yourself in there. But for our benefit and for yours, so we can make sure to answer your questions and track those answers, please put them in Q&A. And if you put one in chat and we missed it, feel free to just email us after the fact and we will get back to you for sure. We don't anticipate any issues, but let us know if you're having video or sound difficulties at any point during this webinar. So today's webinar is part of the CK-12 Certified Educator Program, which involves the 7 sessions that we have for you or more. I hear many of you guys are taking even more than 7 sessions, which is awesome. And then, as I just said, you get to join that whole community of educators. So today's lesson and session is part of that intelligent pathway or a customized pathway, if that's what you chose, and is really focused on the idea of learning management systems. So with that, let me review what we are going to be covering today. We'll start with covering single sign-on, accessing CK-12 through Clever and ClassLink. Then we'll go into our integration for Canvas and Schoology. And depending on which one you're using, you might kind of say, oh, maybe I'm taking Schoology, I don't need to pay attention to Canvas. There's a lot of parts that overlap for that, so make sure you're listening for kind of both of those pieces to get the general parts for Canvas and Schoology, and then the differences between the two of them. We'll then go into the math and science practice apps that are available within Edmodo, sharing modalities and even whole pages from CK-12 to your Google Classroom. And finally, CK-12 content available in Blackboard's open content. So our main goal is that by the end of this session, you will know about the LMS integrations we offer, how to log in through ClassLink and Clever, how to create assignments for Canvas, Schoology, and Edmodo, and review the reported scores, and then be able to share content within your Google Classroom or search for content within Blackboard. Before we get into the core content of the webinar, it would be great if we found out a little bit more about you and your use of various learning management systems. You'll see a poll here in a few seconds that will prompt you to respond to a question. Knowing this answer will help us tailor this webinar a bit and deliver the most relevant content to you. So the question asks you to let us know if you're using any of the following: Blackboard, Canvas, Edmodo, Google Classroom, Schoology, or some other learning management system. You're allowed to pick more than one. And if you're using a different one, feel free to tell us in the chat window what that is. So we'll give it a few seconds to kind of let you guys finish. It looks like you guys are working your way through. Almost there. And answers are still coming in, so we'll give it another couple of seconds as we go through and then wrap it up from there. So I think that probably gives us a pretty good idea. We're going to share that poll with you guys. And you can see that a number of you are using different learning management systems. There's a clear winner on Google Classroom at this point in time. So when we get into that, you guys will be excited to hear that we're enhancing our integration for that over the course of the summer. So definitely keep your eye out for that piece as well. So I think we're good on that point. At this point, we're going to switch over and I'm going to introduce you to Felix, and he's going to demo the core content for this webinar.
Hello, everyone. My name is Felix, and I work here at CK-12. And I'm going to take you through our integrations with a couple of our single sign-on partners and a few of our LMS and other external integrations. So the two single sign-ons partners that we work with is Clever and ClassLink. And I guess in a nutshell, what they do is they kind of take all the hassle of managing different accounts for students, teachers, or even districts. They kind of take care of that all on their platform, and then they expose different applications that you can just click on and sign into without having to, manage separate logins across all these different applications. So I'll go ahead and start with Clever. So let me share my screen. Great. So hopefully all of you can see this. Right now I'm signed in as in a demo account on Clever. Clever usually is set up for you by your district admin or another IT person, and they take all the hassle of installing any applications that you guys want to use. So when you log in, any application that's been approved and installed for you will show up on your dashboard like this. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on CK-12. So what this is doing is logging me into CK-12. I didn't have to type in any extra credentials other than my Clever username and password. So now here I am logged into CK-12. As you can see, I'm logged in as this person here, and that's it. It just really takes out the hassle of having to manage separate accounts, and then Clever goes usually at the district level and helps get schools and different administrators set up. So that's pretty much it for Clever. It just gets you signed in, and then you don't have to worry about all the logins, and you're good to go on CK-12. So now I'll go ahead and move on to ClassLink. Oops. There you go. So ClassLink, again, is another single sign-on provider out to kind of accomplish the same thing, although they do have other services. So here, again, I'm also already logged in as a demo user. As you can see, they also provide access to different apps that you can just click and sign into, and you don't have to worry about that hassle. So for us, I'm already installed here. For ClassLink, they do have an app library, which we are featured in. So this one doesn't have to be set up by the district. If you guys are using ClassLink, you can find us in there. I've already added, but if you didn't have CK-12 already, you could click on add, and that would place it right on your dashboard. So now that this guy's installed and ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and just click on that guy. And again, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to sign me in. And now here I am logged in, ready to use CK-12. And that's pretty much it for these two integrations. They're really simple, just kind of there to help you get into CK-12 and start going.
Great. Thanks, Felix. We had just a couple of questions come in at the beginning that I want to address before we move into the learning management systems. One is, how does an LMS come into place? And then the other was a question about the program. So first of all, a learning management system would be something that you chose as a school to put in place with your students. The two things that Felix just showed you were single sign-on options that kind of put everything together, but those learning management system options that we're about to go through really allow users and schools to kind of put everything in one place, track what they're doing, hear different pieces, and then see student grades in many cases. So if that's something that your class or school has set up, then that's great. If you've never heard about any of these before, then feel free to stay on and learn about a bunch more of them and see kind of some different options. So hopefully this is a great overview. And then we did have one question about if I'm not using a learning management system and I still want to be certified, but I signed up for the Intelligent Pathway, but I'm not really interested in this webinar. You are welcome to take any 7 sessions in order to become CK-12 certified. So if you'd like to find a different one there, you're welcome to sign up under ck12.org Jumpstart. But you can also go from there and kind of maybe see something that you like here. So either way, we encourage you to stay on and learn something new, but you are definitely welcome to check that out. One other note for Google Classroom, you can set it up as an individual teacher. So if you're looking to do that kind of as a homeschool piece, that's one definite option. And I think Felix has a comment to add there, so I'm going to pass it back to him.
Hi, sorry, just real quickly, I wanted to also show some of the other sign-in options. So we do also offer sign-in with Google, sign-in with Facebook, and if you click on this show more, we have Twitter and Microsoft. So I just wanted to add that there are other options, even if you're not using Clever or ClassLink. Hopefully any number of these will kind of cover you.
Great. And I think we have one more question, kind of just to piggyback on what I was saying about setting stuff up either as a teacher or at homeschool. In terms of setting up the LMS on your end, you'd want to kind of look at which one you might be interested in or find some other ones, and then contact them, and they can specifically, that organization or that program can work with you on getting that set up for you. So I think with that, we're going to move on to our next part of this. So the next piece of this, it has to do with Canvas. So CK-12 has an LTI app that's compatible with Canvas. The app allows you to assign content from CK-12 and select resources from your CK-12 library. So the resources include reads, videos, RWAs, which are our real-world applications, adaptive practice, and quizzes. If you're trying to share something else for Canvas or Schoology at this point in time, you'd want to use just a direct link to any of the pages on CK-12. So I think with that, we'll let Felix take over and start demoing Canvas.
Great, thank you, Katie. So real quickly before we, I guess, jump into that, if you haven't installed these apps already, there are, I guess, a quick thing you'd have to do to get set up. And one is to request a key and secret from us. So there's a set of credentials that we would have to send you so that you can configure and set up these applications in Schoology or Canvas. And so right now I'm on our tools and apps page, which you can get to by going to, in the footer of our website, there's a direct link to our tools and apps page. And then if you were to click on either this CK-12 on Schoology or CK-12 on Canvas, it's going to take you to a Google form that we ask people to fill out in order to request these keys. And then once that's filled out, we will send you the credentials you need to get started. So, and real quickly. Real quickly, I just want to show you where we also have our installation instructions for these two apps. So I'm on our Help Center. You can go to help.ck12.org, and under the administrators in IT, because usually these are the guys who will be setting this up for you. Not in all cases, but under administration IT, under LMS integrations, we have all of our installation instructions for Canvas, Schoology, and so installing it for Canvas, this first step here is the form I just showed you, so that you can get to either from here or from the tools and apps page. And then it has listed out the instructions on how to install it. And so I won't cover, I guess, the install piece of this just for the interest of time, but I did want to kind of point out where it is and how they get there. So if you have any questions, please feel free to refer to this or reach out to us, support@ck12.org, and then we can help you get things set up. All right. So now, after you have the app installed in your either Canvas or Schoology, we'll just say Canvas for now, you can go to log into your Canvas, go to one of your courses, and then click on the assignments page. So from here, you see I've already been kind of adding assignments. But to create a new assignment, let's go ahead and click on this plus assignment button. And so this is, for those who are familiar with Canvas, this is probably nothing new to you, but this is their assignment creation page. So you can fill in these assignment details, give it points that you want to be graded. And then down here where it says submission type, usually the external tool I don't think is selected by default. So when you get to this portion, you do want to go ahead and click on that select external tool. And then from here, you go ahead and click on this find, and then you'll see either CK-12, you might have some other external tools installed, but go ahead and click on CK-12, which I'll do now. So this is going to launch the app for you, and voila. So I'll go ahead and give you like a quick, a little overview of what's shown here. So this My Library button actually is going to pull in resources from your library, and those resources will just be the resources that are supported. So as Katie mentioned, we do support the reads, the videos, quizzes, real world applications. And so you'll see all these here. And that is usually, you'd create that directly on our site. So you can edit it, modify it as you need. And then when you go into Canvas and launch the app, you have the option of assigning these guys directly to your course in Canvas. So I'll come back to that in a second. But I did also want to show that it does have our different math subjects and also science. And so right now, let's go ahead and create an assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into algebra. I'm going to go ahead and go into real numbers, and it has, the number of concepts there are. So this one has quite a few. So I'm going to go ahead and click on absolute value. And so here you see it list out all the supported types. Not all of the concepts will have all of these options. So there may be some that just have reads, and maybe some that have reads and videos and such. But this one does have quite a few. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the assessment. And I'm going to go ahead and assign this practice. So after that, our app closes. It kind of drops you back here. You can go ahead and click select. So what it did was it added this URL that was created in the process into this assignment. So from here, you can continue editing any assignment details that you want. If you're kind of done, feel free to save and publish if you're ready to publish it, or you can publish it at a later time. So since I selected publish, it's going to now load the assignment. So this is, I guess as a teacher, you'll see this. And if you haven't accessed this practice before, this is kind of what you'll see before getting started. And so now what I'm going to do, actually real quickly, let me launch the app again and just go through that library piece one more time. So you notice here there are some items that are marked draft, and so on our site you can customize, and before finalizing you can save any work that you're not quite ready for anyone else to see. You could save it in draft and continue working until it's ready. So just a quick note on these, like if you do have anything that's in draft, be sure you finalize it on CK-12 before assigning if you want them to see the latest. You can do it post assignment, but just in case some students are already looking at the assignment, you might want to just go ahead and make sure it's finalized before you assign anything that has a draft icon next to it. And then you can assign your quizzes. So again, you can customize those on CK-12 and they'll show up here. And you might notice that you're not seeing like any flexbooks. So some of you may be working pretty heavily with flexbooks, which is one of our offerings on CK-12. So you're not able to assign an entire flexbook directly, but what you can do is assign those sections. So when you're in your flexbook, anything that you've customized, that's a section will show up here. So if I had a flexbook, let's say, and it had like maybe chapter 1.1 was like on scientific notation, that would be this guy here. Alternatively, you can do the add to library option on any of these sections within a flexbook that you don't plan on customizing, you just kind of want to get it to your library. So that is an option. So if you do want to work with the flexbook, but you don't necessarily want to customize, one way to have that accessible within Canvas is to either do the add to library option on that section, or you can customize it, and that'll also bring it up for you here. So I just wanted to make a note of that. So I'm going to close this and now switch over to the student side of it, just so you can see how that looks. Okay. So hopefully you can see this. Let me just refresh this page. Okay. So now this is I'm signed in as a student. I already went to this course and I'm looking at this assignment. So here's the demo assignment. that we just assigned as the teacher. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that guy. And so this will launch the assignment. It's also doing an authentication, so it's signing the user in. Looks like this guy was already working on this, but I'm going to go ahead and just hit keep practicing for a second. So one thing I did want to kind of clarify is that a lot of times we get questions and people are confused as to how to submit the assignment. So you can be going through a practice and say you're finished, you got 10 out of 10, and you want to go ahead and click submit. So you can go ahead and click submit, and that does say it's submitting the practice. But within the LMS, using our app, you always want to make sure you're hitting this turn-in button. So for students, in order for them to have the grade submitted, they always want to make sure once they're done, they're hitting this turn-in button. And if for some reason they're not seeing this button show up at all, one thing that they can check is they can go, after launching this app, maybe in a new tab, go directly to the site, and they can check under settings and make sure their profile isn't set to teacher, because that setting will have this option not show. So if that is the case for them, they can select student and then come back here, refresh. They should see the turn in button. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this guy in again. And then once that submits, I'm going to go ahead and hop over to this grades. So you can see here kind of where my mouse cursor is. It does have that assignment submitted. So you have a score, 100 out of 100. I'm going to also, now I'm going to jump back really quickly to the teacher screen. Second, just to show you how reviewing those results look. Okay, so hopefully you guys are seeing my teacher page. Let me jump over to the gradebook. And where's demo assignment? So here's the demo assignment. If you want more details on this, let me go ahead and actually, I'm going to click on the student's name. So this brings up this list, but if I click on this assignment title one more time, there's a link here. This link will actually allow you to review their results. So I'm going to open in a new tab just because opening it in this view kind of truncates the results. But opening it in a new tab gives me more of what I'm looking for. So this is the students' results. As you can see, they got 10 out of 10. But you can scroll down and you can see all the questions that they were asked. So if I had got anything wrong, that would also be shown up here. So it's really good. Oh, and actually, yeah, you can see some that I did get wrong. So it's a good way for you to see what they're doing, not only just to have the score, but also to review what questions they're asking, maybe what they're struggling on. And so with that, that will, I guess, kind of wrap up this Canvas demo, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Great, thanks, Felix. So actually, I'm gonna just, if you can go back to that, the absolute value tab that you opened up in a new one, just so they can see that for a second. This is the same score for practice and report that you would see if you were accessing CK-12's practice within CK-12 groups. So if you missed our groups in practice 101 and you're trying to figure out what types of questions are being served up to students and what these extra recommended pieces are, then I definitely recommend that you join us. We're going to have a groups in practice session in the second half of this program again, so right after the 4th of July. So join us for that one or watch the recording if you missed it. But that's something to just understand, that if we're showing you that full report, that's what you'd see either using CK-12 or a learning management system. And we've had a bunch of different questions kind of on what an LMS is and what is supported in an LMS. So first off, the learning management systems that we're showing you today are not CK-12 run. They're all partners that we work with, that we integrate with. A learning management system would be something that would allow you to kind of track progress, see reports on students, in the case of Google Classroom, share content. And I know there was a comment about what that level looked like. Right now, as we were starting to say, I'm not sure if we've mentioned this yet, but we'll go through it. We are eventually kind of working on that integration for some of this practice in Google Classroom as well. So that would turn it more into that learning management system piece where you actually get to see and track student progress. In terms of what is supported in these learning management systems, each one has its own different kind of layout choice of what they're showing you. And then based on what they allow and what works with our system, we've supported different features. So for Canvas, as Felix said, we support kind of your read modalities, so any sort of text modality, as well as videos, and then practice and quizzes. And he showed you kind of this practice piece here with the grades for that. But we're going to talk more about quizzes in our customizing quiz webinar as well. And then for Google Classroom, you can even share Plix and Sims, but anything that's not fully integrated based on the restrictions from both kind of their program as well as CK-12, you can always share that URL from CK-12. So definitely keep that in mind in terms of like what is and is not supported. This is full support showing up within there versus kind of linking to show our other resources from CK-12. We have a couple of questions that talk about blocking usage for teacher accounts, not part of the school or district. If you're looking for specifics kind of on, does my situation fit and can I get a key? All of that is in that form. So if you fill out that form to go from there, if there's any kind of funky requirements for that, then definitely include that in there. And when we work to give you that key, we'll make sure that it's appropriate for the situation that you're working with. And do the students' skill level percents show up on any reports? So as you look right here, this skill level meter that's being shown right now, that's actually our tracking in terms of, is the student doing well? It looks like their streak was 7 correct at this point in time, versus as the skill level drops, the CK-12's practice system kicks in recommendations for them. And some of those recommendations you can see at the bottom of the screen, those reads and videos, and different ways to explore as they continue to work your way from there. So that's kind of what's showing up on there. The percentage CK-12's practice systems goal, it's really kind of working their way through a topic and gaining understanding. So the goal for any adaptive practice is getting 10 correct. So once Felix did that, he got full credit for that assignment. And then in terms of like a quiz, if you made a customized quiz, your percentage would be based on the actual number and the full percent. If you had 10 questions, it would be out of 10. If you had 15 questions, it would be the percent out of 15 that they got correct. So we're still getting questions on the skill level piece. As I said, that's an internal piece for our system to kind of help the student see, oh, I'm doing really well, or I'm getting bumped to that part. But really the goal is that mastery piece. And so understanding. And so we're showing you the percentage here that you can see in terms of the practice goal. If you want that full report, just click on the details and you can see it within that piece. And I think we have one more question. You see an assignment column in the gradebook if students aren't in the class yet. This person sees other assignments in the gradebook. So maybe Felix can demo that and see what that looks like. So the question is, should you see an assignment column in the gradebook if students aren't in the class yet?
Okay, I think, so I believe you're talking just about this guy. I think you'll still see it. What happens is it might look grayed out, and I think that means you just haven't, oh, sorry, no, gradebook. Sorry, I was thinking of assignments. So will you still see an assignments column if the students haven't added yet? So yeah, I think you'll still possibly see it. Maybe you'll see just the top part, but just no students listed under. I'm actually not too sure. That might be more of a question to send to Canvas, but I can definitely try to find that out and see if what the answer to that might be. But I actually don't have an answer right now.
Great. So I think with that, it looks like we've kind of answered the questions that were coming through. So we're going to move on to Schoology as our next learning management system. So it works very similar to Canvas, and there's a few differences that are specific to Schoology. So Felix is going to go through mainly those differences, but not go back through kind of the whole library piece and assignment component as we work our way through.
Great, thank you, Katie. So yes, the apps themselves are it's exactly the same app used in both Canvas and Schoology. There are a few differences when creating the assignment and also where to find it. So here I'm logged in as a teacher, and I am in my course already. I'm in the materials section. So to get to our app from here, after you've installed the app, there's an Add Materials drop down. Click on that, it's going to bring up a menu, and then you'll see CK-12 app is listed here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And so this is going to launch the app for us, and this should look very familiar because it's exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and create an assignment because there is a piece of this that I do want to show you that's, I guess, like an extra step that you don't kind of have to do in Canvas, but in Schoology you will. So I'm going to go ahead, go down to this guy, click on row numbers, order of operations, it's one of our favorites. And I'm going to go ahead and add this read assignment. So I've just added this assignment here, but there's actually one more step you want to do before it can be graded. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that. So what I'm doing is I'm clicking on this little sprocket or settings icon, and I'm going to click on edit. And so you don't have to touch anything that's up here. I mean, you can change the title, but the URL you would leave as is. You don't have to enter any of this consumer key, shared secret, or anything like that. That's already set up for you. But what you do want to do is click on this enable grading option. And so here, this is going to bring up some more options. So you can give it its point value, select a due date, and this category is required. So select a category there. I don't have a grading period set up, so I just leave that as no grading period. And then I save. So that's actually it. Selecting content and stuff we saw kind of in Canvas, but in Schoology, this kind of last option of enabling the grading is kind of like a second step that might not be too clear at first. And so I'll actually do this one as a switch to the student view so you can see what happens with some of the non-practice modalities like reads and RW, or real world applications. So give me 1 second just to switch my screen here. Okay, so now let me close this guy. And so I'm signed in as a student. I'm on that same kind of jumpstart course. I'm just going to refresh here so I can see the latest assignment. And so this is my student account. I'm going to go ahead and launch this assignment. So it's launching, it's signing me in, it's bringing up the assignment. So this is a reading assignment. As you see, there's no turn-in button. So what happens with these assignments that are kind of embedded reads, as soon as this launches and loads, they will get a score submitted like right away, and they get full point value. We're not doing anything fancy to kind of calculate like how far down they're going or how much they've read, how much time they spent. It's just kind of as soon as it loads, they get 100%. That score is sent back and it shows up in their gradebook. So let me show you what that looks like. So from here on the side tab where this says grades, I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. And as you can see, I've gotten 100% from my PIMDAS. And I'm gonna switch over to the teacher view really quick. Okay. All right, so I'm back here, and just to kind of show you what that looks like for teachers. So there it says gradebook, and you might notice like it looks like there's no, like what happened to all my work. Because I didn't select a grading period, I had added the no grading period option. It is there, it's just you had to go down one extra filter to bring that up in my case. For you might, or for those of you using Schoology, this might not be an issue because you probably have a grading period enabled, but you can see the score here. And so with that, that's pretty much it for Schoology. The apps are the same. The workflows are exactly the same. It's the same app. The only, I guess, the extra step of enabling grading is a little bit different. So you'd have to go, again, click here, go into edit, and then just mark that checkbox off, and then you can finish modifying the assignment with the appropriate details. And so I will pause here and then open it up again for more questions.
Thank you, Felix. So we have a couple different questions. One has to do with using Google Classroom, and we're going to cover Edmodo next and then Google Classroom. So just wait patiently for that piece of this webinar. And then we had two other questions that were in here right now. One is whether or not there's a learning management system that is better for independent study and allowing students to begin as they are ready. So today we're covering kind of how CK-12 works within any learning management system. If you're interested in kind of seeing other things, I might recommend that you post that question on the Jumpstart forum and see what other users have, because really I think the fact that we have thousands of users joining us this summer means that they can probably tell you better than we can which LMS they like, what the benefits of using one versus the other are, and really having explored with them within their classes a lot more than we have from our end. So I would recommend that you kind of post that question there and see what the rest of that community can recommend from their end. And then we have a question about using CK-12 as your learning management system. So in terms of using kind of our groups to assign content, so really these are all ways to deliver content to users and then kind of gain their reports and feedback. From the CK-12 side, you can still see if a learner has accessed a read, a Plix, or a simulation. So that's kind of one of the benefits of the CK-12 system right now. You can assign Plix and simulations as well. All reports within CK-12, just like if you wanted to see work on any of these learning management systems, you have to assign that to a student before you can see how they did on it. So just make sure you're assigning to a student whatever that modality type is, and then you'll be able to see whether or not for a read or a video they accessed it. And then a Plix or a sim, they actually have to start kind of that interaction. They have to get to that sandbox environment, or they have to get to the challenge questions within a Plix. And if neither of those make any sense to you because you haven't yet taken our Simulations and Plix webinar, then I recommend you sign up for one of those, as well as if you can't make them, check out the recording. And we talk about kind of all of those interactive components of our Simulations and Plix, as well as the questions and types of things that you can kind of have students work with in those systems. And then right now, yes, we had a question about simulations currently are for science. We're in our second subject area for those. And you'll be able to kind of see what that looks like, but Plix are available across math and science at this point. So I think with that, you guys can keep adding questions to our Q&A and we'll keep getting back to them. But we're gonna switch over and have Felix demo Edmodo.
Thanks, Katie. I will just add one more thing about the different LMS integrations. So we are actually working on kind of improving that and making it a little easier for other LMSs to use the app that you saw. So hopefully we can get that improvement in and then eventually support more LMSs, I guess, in the future. So I know Moodle is one that comes up. And then, of course, we're building out our Google Classroom integration, but hopefully with these improvements, we'll be able to make things, accessing CK-12s a lot easier for you guys. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So now we'll go ahead and jump into Edmodo. So we do have two different apps in Edmodo. And the apps we have in Edmodo are just practice. So there aren't any reads or video assignments through this application, but we do have practice and quizzes. So right now you're looking at the Edmodo Spotlight page. This is kind of where they have all their apps featured. So I'm going to just show you how to find us. So I started typing in CK-12 Foundation, and under authors you can see CK-12 Foundation Publisher. So you want to go ahead and click on that, and that'll bring up our apps. So we have math, we have science. Click on here, it's going to bring up our app, there's like a nice little description, some reviews, and you see it's 100% free, doesn't cost anything, which is great. And then over here, there's an option to assign the app to your group. So if you guys are using Edmodo and you have like all your groups, you can go ahead and check off which ones you want to install to. Click on install, and that's pretty much the setup for Edmodo. It's kind of easy. No additional keys or anything like that are needed. So with that, I'm going to jump over into my teacher account. So now I'm signing in as a teacher. I'm in one of my groups called the New Spot. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and launch I'm going to go ahead and launch this guy. And as you can see, like, jump back real quickly, all of the assignments show up kind of like as a feed. So if any of you guys are familiar with like most of the social medias, it kind of feels like that. And I believe Edmodo was kind of deemed as like the social media for teachers. All right, so here we are at the app. It might look somewhat familiar if you've been following along. It shares a lot of resemblance to the other apps. So this one is just math, so we're just seeing the math subjects here. I did mention, so instead of the library, we have quizzes because you can only assign quizzes in Edmodo, as well as practice, but from your library, just the quizzes. So here we have my quizzes. You can create new, which will open up a new tab and drop you into our quiz creation editor. So you can also assign these guys, select a group, give it a due date. So I'll go ahead and do that. Let's say this guy is going to be due on the 30th. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that guy. And it's telling me that this has been posted. So I'm going to switch tabs here back to this guy. So this is my group page. I'm just going to refresh so that you can see the new posted assignment. And so here it is. It's my sample quiz. It says that no one's turned it in yet. It's because no student has attempted it. And I will just jump back one more time to kind of show you like browsing the subjects, which should feel pretty familiar, but I'll go ahead and walk through one. So again, we have subjects listed, topics. Just going to go ahead and select one, and let's say, okay, metric system. So you do have the option of changing the title if you don't want the default. I typically leave that alone, but it's up to you. And then if you did have quizzes that were kind of tied to a particular concept, so we do allow you to tie your quizzes and associate them with different subjects. So if you did have some that were already associated with the metric system, they would show up here. And then also we give the option just to go ahead and create a quiz that's kind of aligned to this metric system concept. So I'm going to switch back to this tab here, and then I'm going to go ahead and assign this to that same group. Great, it's been posted. So let me just go back here and refresh. And so once this loads, I already see that it's showing up here, but here it is again. So these two assignments have been posted to Edmodo. And so I guess in the same fashion, I'm going to go ahead and switch to my student account now. So let me pull that up for you. All right, so hopefully you're seeing this Schoology screen, which I'm going to switch into my student account. So I'm logged in as one of my students here, and I'm in the same, actually I'm not in that group, but let me refresh. So you see that the last two assignments that I posted. So here's the sample quiz, and here's the metric system practice. So I'm going to actually go ahead and click on this quiz here. So it's also signing me in, and it's going to pull up the assignment here. So this says, hey, you tried it before. I'm going to go ahead and try again, even though I did get 100%. So quizzes allow you to customize our practice. So if the adaptive practice, if you want to kind of tailor the questions more, or just have more control of what you're assigning. Quizzes allow you to do that. So this is great if you want to do like a review or anything like that. So let me go ahead and go through this. All right, looks like we're doing pretty good. And I'll get this one on. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this. So again, that was submit quiz, and in the same thing for Edmodo. Even though we submitted, there's a turn in button here that we do want to click on. So we turn it in. I'm going to go ahead and select that class. And then let me bounce over to this guy. So I'm back on the student page. I'm just going to go ahead and refresh. And let's see. Here we are. So here's the sample quiz. As you can see, it's been graded. I got 100 out of 100. And what it did was it took my best score that I had previously done. So it's taking the best score for the quiz that I had recently attempted. And then real quick, let me just jump over to the teacher so you guys can see how to see those scores there. And, okay, so I'm back over here. I'm just going to refresh this group page. And all right, so down here you see it says one person has turned it in. And then I'm going to actually, up here in the top nav, there's a progress section. You just want to find your group. So for this guy, it was the new spot. And so here's the sample quiz. It was the last one that I did. So that's the score. And that is our integration with Edmodo. So I'll go ahead and pause here quickly and open it up for questions.
Great. Thanks, Felix. We have a couple of different questions coming in general. So I think we'll take a few, and then the Google Classroom and Blackboard parts are going to be fairly straightforward. There's not a ton of integration because those are both being updated. So we're going to just give you a preview, and I'll have Felix kind of do those parts together so we can keep it to about an hour. But let me answer just 2 or 3 quick questions first. One, even though we can't assign videos or clicks through Edmodo, can we put a link into a post and students could access that modality? And then another person asked kind of a similar question about different learning management systems that aren't integrated. Every page on CK-12 has a unique URL. You're welcome to copy that URL and share it. And Felix will show you how to share in general via an email shortly, along with Google Classroom. But you can totally do that to see what's up. In terms of the turn it in and try again question that just came up, our practice system really is, the goal of that is to allow students to master a concept. If you wanted to create something where they only had one chance to complete an assignment, then you'd want to customize that into a quiz and set the number of attempts that are available there. And that's something that we will be covering in our customizing practice session next week, so definitely come join us for that. And then we had another question about which of these 2 should I use? Would you recommend using? I would say I can give you my recommendations on teaching experience, but I bet that our community of users and participants in this program have just that much more experience across them. There are thousands of them. So definitely ask those questions in the forum, and people might be able to give you what worked best and what didn't work best for any particular example. Google Classroom right now is only sharing, so when that full practice piece comes in, then that might change that. And then we had questions about kind of the practice itself. So we're going to save anything that doesn't have to do with the learning management system kind of to the end of this, but we promise we will get to all of those questions. So I think with that, we're going to let Felix take over and show you Google Classroom, as well as kind of the preview to Blackboard's updated piece as well.
Great, thanks, Katie. I think someone was asking about assigning something that from CK-12 that wasn't particularly a practice or quiz on Edmodo. So you can do that, as Katie mentioned. You can take the URL, and within Edmodo, they do have an option to add a link So you could take that URL, add it here. If it's something like a read or anything like that, you won't get the grade passback option, so you won't get the scoring ability, but at least you can still add content from CK-12 to here. So just wanted to mention that, and let me bounce over now to our Google Classroom integration. All right, so I'm just going to refresh this page. So the Classroom integration, you're going to pretty much be doing everything directly on CK-12. So with that, let me just go ahead and click on subject. Actually, let me go back quick. Expand all these guys. Jump into biology. So this icon here, this airplane, we call the Sharoplane, and that's going to actually open up our classroom integration, as well as some other options. So let me go ahead and click on that now. So this dialog will pop up. There's a few different options. You can enter an email, and it'll send this email to anyone you've added. There's also options to share it on social media channels like Facebook, Twitter, or Pinterest. But this guy here is the Google Classroom integration. So if you wanted to share this page or any page that has this sort of airplane icon, you can. So I'm going to jump into another level of our site and bring up a few more options. So let's say you're on a proteins subject for the week or whatnot. I'm going to go ahead and bring up that option to share, and I'm going to click on the Google Classroom. So one thing, I was signed in. I was still signed in as my Edmodo user, but I was also logged in Google kind of separately through my Classroom account. So this will take you to your Google sign-in. So even if you're not signed in through Google on CK-12, you can still click on this and take advantage of that feature. So right now, this is going to have me pick a class. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then it also brings up some options. So you can create an assignment from this share. You can ask a question or make an announcement. And I will note that even though this does say create assignment, you can create an assignment, but it won't give you like the grade passback feature. As Katie mentioned, we're working on building that integration out. And so once that is done, we'll have some great tutorials and walkthroughs on how to do that. But I just wanted to mention that this created assignment might not do what you're expecting, at least at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and click Make an Announcement. And then you can see it has the link to that page, and then you can just simply add something like I give it a topic, and then you can pick who you want to share it to. So you can do all students or select which students you want to share it to. Then I'm just going to go ahead and post it. So it says, great, you posted to your class, and then now I clicked on view. So now it's taking me into my actual classroom. And so you can see it's tagged with the topic that I selected, just has a quick little note, but also down here is the link to that page. So if I click on it, it takes me right back to CK-12 and right back to that page. So one of the nice things about, I guess, this integration and this option right now is being able to share like any page you want. So I mean, you can share the entire thing. You can just share like a video section. Pretty much anywhere you see this share icon, you'll be able to share it to your classroom. And so until we further extend that integration, that is the extent of the Google Classroom integration, but it does allow you to share a lot of, hopefully easily, but a lot of different modality types from our site into your classroom. And then I'll go ahead and pause here just to take any questions.
So Felix, we had one question that I'm going to answer now because it's super specific to Google Classroom. And then just in the interest of time, we're going to show you just the brief preview of what Blackboard's going to be and wrap up the core content. And then as always, we'll stay on and make sure we get through all of your questions. The one question was about the green share plane. I know sometimes the Zoom window will cut off the bottom of the screen. So if you're on any page on CK-12, then just kind of look in the bottom right corner for what looks like a green airplane, and that's what you would be clicking on in order to do that. So if you weren't seeing that, check it out on the homepage or on our site and ask us if you're still having difficulty accessing that. But I think I'm going to let Felix just show the quick preview for Blackboard, and then we'll do a couple logistical pieces and then go back into questions at the end.
Great, thanks, Katie. So here I kind of have like a preview video of kind of what Blackboard's been working on and what they're looking to add to their current LMS.
Great. So as we said, Blackboard is updating. You know, we had show you the old version of Blackboard, open content, which used to be called Explore, but that doesn't make a ton of sense since they're doing all of these updates. So we wanted to just kind of preview that. Whenever that is fully integrated and working, we will make sure to show on any future webinars kind of the full component that works from there. So I'm going to just wrap up with a couple key pieces and logistics for the end of this webinar, and then we'll go back to answering questions as we go through. So Felix showed you the tools and apps page at the beginning of this webinar. In addition to all the information about these learning management systems, you can find out information about our apps to allow offline access for Sims and Flexbooks, and then practice within or on a phone or iPad or Android device. So definitely check that page out. Your assignment for here is tinyurl.com CEP17 LMS. You can access that through that tiny URL. I know some people said they were having difficulty with those. We've updated all the links on the main page where you can find kind of, this is our home page, the CK-12 Certified 2017 page, and all of the links under each session have the direct link to that form. So if you weren't able to access via the tiny URL, you should be able to access via that direct link. And then if you're interested in signing up for office hours, or you have any other questions on when things are offered or times, as well as the recorded videos are on here. So check that page out. We have a couple upcoming sessions. We talked about customizing practice and quizzes. So we have one next Tuesday at 3, and then again after the 4th of July. Using practice in groups with students, that has a lot of strategies as you're working your way through there. So check that out as well. We have one kind of coming up next week, and then again as well. And then our groups in practice was offered yesterday, actually our first one. So if you haven't taken that, you're welcome to join us on the 12th of July for that other offering. But if you want to take customizing practice earlier, you might want to watch that video kind of just to get a preview, because that is our introduction piece before we go into all of the details. If you want to register for any of these, go to our main registration page, ck12.org/jumpstart. And we've been getting great feedback from users, both kind of encouraging work that this is being super helpful, as well as some great ideas and helpful information that will continue to shape this program. So we really encourage you to fill out this form and let us know how we're doing and what we can do to improve. So I think with that, we're just about at the hour mark. So for those of you guys that don't have any questions, you're welcome to sign off. Otherwise, we are going to switch back over. I'm going to have Felix share his screen again in a second so that we can go back into kind of demo mode and explain anything. And we'll continue to answer questions until they are gone. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And Felix, do you want to go ahead and share your screen, and I'll see what questions we have.
All right, sure, let's open it up for some questions.
Okay, so it looks like have to do with Google Classroom integration, being fully integrated. We're working on that this summer, so we're looking at probably this fall. You'll be able to work with that at some point in time. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And when that happens, we'll probably host a webinar strictly for that piece on new updates. We had a couple of questions regarding assigning content in CK-12 and then posting a URL elsewhere. As long as they're accessing that and logged into CK-12, then using that URL would kind of bump up their account within CK-12. So they'd be able to see that. If they're accessing it but not logging in, then it wouldn't register them. So make sure that they're logged into CK-12 in whatever browser they're working with. In Google Classroom, if they're using the same Google login, then that will probably help with that piece as well. We had a question, Felix, that says, can I choose more than one class at a time on Google Classroom when you're making assignments? So maybe you can pull up that option and just show them what that looks like, or maybe you know the answer right off the bat and can go from there. But I'll let you take over and demo that piece.
Sure, let me pull that back up. All right, so I just clicked on the little share plane. I'm going to go ahead and click on share within Google. So this seems to be just a single selection box. It's not giving me the option to assign to multiple groups or share with multiple groups. So I think that's what you're looking to do is, so let me just double check here. All right, so, oh, there you go. Yeah, you can do it. So yeah, there is a way. I guess from that initial dropdown you can't, but once you get to this screen, it looks like they're giving you some checkbox options. So I think that was to answer your question. You can do it. It's just on a separate, I guess it's an extra step on a different page, I guess. But it looks like it's doable. Let's see.
So, Felix, we have hopefully that answered a couple different questions in terms of the choosing one class at a time. And then someone asked about, can we make the selection to choose an assignment? So the first time he did it as an announcement. This one he did as an assignment. I'm also going to maybe have him go back afterwards and show you what it looks like if you posted a question. But they're all pretty similar. If you use Google Classroom, you can choose what type of thing you want to do. Are you just sharing it in an announcement? Are you actually creating an assignment and making a due date like he's doing here? Or are you asking a question and asking kids to kind of respond to that and do that piece as we work our way through? So definitely check those parts out and kind of play around with it, decide what works best for any given piece that you are looking for. Let's see what other questions we have going here. It says, if students have a Google Classroom account, do they need to have a CK-12 account? Well, for CK-12, you can log in using Google, so that would be their same account. If they're already logged into Google Classroom, when they go to CK-12 and they go to sign in, they just need to click the sign in with Google option, and that will fully match everything up so they can access anything there. And it would read the same email address as we work our way through. And then we had a couple of program questions in terms of what happens if I got kicked out for a minute or if I missed a little bit. If for some reason you're having difficulty with connections, definitely let us know. We recommend if you missed any part of this webinar that you definitely go and check the recorded version and see the part that you missed so that you aren't losing any information in that process. But the attendance piece at the very end, so there were kind of a couple of things we mentioned for the program. One was kind of completing those 7 sessions, joining and part of this community, and then the last kind of piece in addition to the assignments that you do is you'll have one final form, and that final form will ask you to note all of the webinars that you believe you attended as you went through, and we'll cross-check that with our attendance records. We have 1,000+ people signed up for this program, and they are readjusting their schedules on a daily basis based on what they need to do and when new things are offered. So we're going to kind of take all of those pieces together at the end and cross-check our records and confirm that it matches what you're saying you attended, because even if you registered, that might not be what you attended. So if there's something specific, email Jumpstart and we can go look up your name and piece, but we're not kind of making those available because there's so many moving parts at this point in time. Let's see what other questions we've missed in here. We talked about URLs in there and accessing reads. We talked about choosing one class at a time on CK-12 in Classroom. So Felix showed us that we can do more than one class in the assignment feature. We noted if you're not seeing the airplane or there's some issue there, please, I don't know if you can see that, if you can scroll down a little bit there, Felix, and we'll see if that green share a plane, there we go. It looks like this. If it's not, it usually floats with the content. Sometimes it gets locked, so just refresh that page if you're not seeing it, but maybe you can just stand on there for a second. That green share me is the option to share directly to Google Classroom. And so that makes it super simple to work your way through. So hopefully that takes care of that. And it says Google Classroom does not score assignments automatically. It has to be done by the teacher. So that's that piece where we said right now, Google Classroom is working on that integration with us so that it will score those pieces. So yes, if you were trying to make an assignment in the next, couple of months of summer, then I might recommend using a different learning management system or using CK-12's groups feature. But if you are joining us again in the fall, then that's something that you might kind of consider using Google Classroom for in terms of the assignment features that we're looking at as well. So check that out. And then we have a question at the top about the practice itself. So some of that practice, it says, how close do students have to correctly spell a word on the fill-in-the-blank questions to get it right? And does the first word of a complete sentence have to be capitalized or just correctly spelled with lowercase? So right now our practice is mainly math and science based, and even the spelling content isn't full sentences for spelling, it's words at that level. So the capitalization shouldn't be an issue in there. In terms of how closely do they have to spell it, I know that for some of them we've definitely put in options where we have added alternate answers with kind of commonly misspelled pieces, so you might see that part as well. But it kind of depends on the question, and if it's something that you're saying, hey, all my students are spelling this incorrectly, our questions allow you to improve this question, or you can email us at CK-12 and we can talk about what that might look like for any individual topic and those questions. So let's see what other questions we have here. Will you update us when Classroom updates for CK-12? Yes, we will make that announcement. All of our users will get an email with that. We will definitely let you know at that point in time. And then it looks like I have half of a question here. It says something about on the teacher's end. So I'm not sure what the beginning of that was. If you've already got your question answered, great. If you haven't, then please let us know what that was as we go from here. So we just got a question in about checking back after June 29th to make sure you've seen the attendance to get certified. If you have completed all of your work by the end of June, if you're doing this entire program in the first 2 weeks and not afterwards, in that last session that you take on the 29th, that maximizing learning session will give you all the information you need to wrap up that program, and you'll fill it all out and we can work with you on that piece. As I said, if you are curious about anything and you need something confirmed, then email Jumpstart and we'll look into anything for you from there. Okay, so currently we have cleared out our cache of Q&A questions. If you have any other ones, we'll give you kind of just a little bit longer to post them in there before we wrap up. If for some reason you didn't finish getting a question answered before we finish, please feel free to email us and we can always answer it from there. Okay, I think with that we'll wrap up. Thank you guys. Oh, one last one just came in. Is it better to log in with Google Classroom rather than the school email non-Google if you're using Google Classroom? If you're using Google Classroom, my hint is that your school email could be a Google email. If that's not the case, you can check with your users, but often if you're using Google Classroom, you have an associated email from there. So if you're logging into Google, you can try the login with Google option there. If you want to share to Google Classroom, then you need to be logged in with the same email address. So whatever that email address is for Google should be what you log in to CK-12. And just to note that our emails are the unique identifier for our accounts. So if you want to make sure all your stuff is in one place and you're using Google Classroom with a particular email address, then that's the one you should be using when you use for CK-12. And we have an Edmodo question that maybe Felix can take.
Yeah, so I think you're adding this question should add. Okay, so yeah, what you would want to do is click assign app to group, and then you should see your groups listed, and then you can select which groups you want to install the app for. So yeah, so I guess not the library or collection, but you should hopefully see the assign app to group option. Cancel that right here, and then just click on that. It should bring up your groups, and then you can just check off which ones you want.
Great. Thanks, Felix. So I think with that, if you're having difficulty, so we got a question that just came in about something not showing up on their particular one. If you're having difficulty with your particular instance of using a learning management system with CK-12, then please email us. You can email support@ck12.org, and we'll work with you to figure out what might not be syncing correctly. But in terms of if you're not seeing what we're showing you, then we'll definitely work with you on getting that taken care of.
So just to add, I'm not sure if, hopefully you are logged in. If you're not logged in, maybe that could be one reason why. But outside of that, I'm not too sure. But if it's still an issue, I can check with Edmodo and see if there's any known issues around this. But I would just double check to make sure you are signed in. Because I think if I were to sign out, let me just see if I can try this. If I go back. Oh, well, now it's making me log in. But yeah, I would just double check that you're, oh no, it still looks like it does it. Yeah, so I would, I guess login isn't really an issue. But yeah, if you're still having trouble, if you want, you can reach out to us, or you can just contact Edmodo directly and see, and just ask them about, you're having some trouble on their Spotlight page, trying to install our app for your group.
Great, thanks, Felix. So I think with that, we're going to wrap up today's webinar. Feel free to continue to email us or join us for office hours. And we look forward to seeing you again next week when we pick up our webinars. Thanks so much.